Hi, welcome. This video is going to walk you through how to add a story to the Capital News Service website. My name's Adam Martin. If you have any questions about anything that we cover in this video, feel free to ask your editor or shoot me a Slack message and ask me. I'm also going to be referring over the course of this video to a document that we put together called Website How-To and Best Practices. And in fact, what I go through in this video is going to be completely covered in this document. So feel free to refer to this document whenever you need to. Okay, so it's a pretty easy process. We're going to go through the process right now of once you have a story written and approved by your editor, how you add that story to the website. So this assumes you already have a login to the CNS website. And so you're just going to want to go to cnsmaryland.org/wp-admin and log in there. That'll take you to our website dashboard. And you're not going to have quite as many options as I have here because you're not going to have quite as many permissions as I do. So it's going to look a little bit different, but very similar. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to Posts, Add New. So this is all stories contained on the website are considered posts. And so we just click here, and that's going to open up a new window that is going to allow us to enter our headline and our text and our photos and any graphics that we have, and basically just everything that we need to do right here. I'm going to use a sample story today written by Ryan Little about Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh being sentenced to prison for a scandal that she was involved in. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab Ryan's headline for this story, and I'll just go ahead and copy and paste the headline into the title field of this page. And for the title, is really your most important field for improving the performance of your story on Google. You want to make sure that your headline includes highly relevant keyword terms such as names, places, and events. And when possible, it's best to front load these headlines with the most important keywords in the front. So try to write 50 to 60 character headlines. So this is a fine example of a headline. Ex-Baltimore mayor gets 3 years for healthy Holly fraud. Might also be good to sort of try to get Catherine Pugh's name in this headline, but we're going to go ahead and just use this one for now since this is the headline that Ryan came up with. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and insert the story copy onto this page. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste all of the story copy right into the main form field here. And this will give you the opportunity if you need to bold anything, you're able to do that through the WordPress site here. You can also add I'm just going to go ahead and delete all these bolds since we don't actually need them. This will also allow you to add links. So for example, if we wanted to add a link, so let's say we wanted to link some portion of the text up to the Baltimore Sun website. If we were referencing the Baltimore Sun, we would just select the words that we wanted to link, and we would click this link button, and we could just click insert the URL, so http baltimoresun.com. We want to always make sure that we open links in a new tab so that we're not navigating people away from our website. And we click add link, and that would go ahead and add the link code right there in our story. Again, I'm going to go ahead and delete that since we don't actually want to do that for this story. One thing to be careful of is there's actually two options here, a visual or a text view of your story. You want to make sure that you're always working in the text view, as that's going to give you a more clear view of what things are going to look like, and it's also going to allow you to add embeds and links and bolds and all kinds of other stuff that you want to do. You also are going to want to make sure that over here on the right under format that you've selected the standard story format. We have a few others for video stories and gallery stories, but the vast majority of stories that we add are going to be standard stories. Okay, so once we've added our story, we can go ahead and insert any photos and embeds that we have in the story. So we don't actually have any photos or embeds to add in this story, but I'm going to go ahead and add in a few just so we can see how you might do that. So let's say, for instance, that you had a photo that you wanted to add somewhere in the story. We could just click wherever we wanted the photo to be inserted. We could go up here to Add Media, and you just want to find the photo that you want to insert. And I'll show you guys how to insert new photos in just a second. And so let's just say, for instance, that we wanted to insert this photo here. We could just select it and click Insert into Post. And that will go ahead and insert our photo right there where we had selected it. Maybe we want to put a couple breaks around the photo there. We can also insert embeds. So if we had created a graphic and data wrapper here, I have a sample graphic we're going to pretend like was being embedded in this story. After we've created the graphic and data wrapper, we go to the Publish and Embed screen. And after we've published our chart, data wrapper is going to give us some embed code. So we're going to use this responsive iframe embed code, and we can copy the embed code and again go to wherever we want our embed to be in the story and just go ahead and paste that embed right in there. And this is going to be the same for any sort of embed that you might want to be inserting in your story. If it's a YouTube video embed, a Vimeo video embed, or really any kind of code embed that you want to insert in your story, you can just copy and paste it directly into the story, assuming that you're using this text tab right there. So at any time when you're working, you can go ahead and click Save Draft, and you can click, after it saves the draft, we can actually go ahead and preview it to see what our story looks like so far. Okay, so we can see it's inserted our headline. It added my byline, which is fine for this sample, though like I said, Ryan Little actually wrote this story. We won't actually be publishing this. It inserted the photo right in the middle of our story, exactly where we wanted it. If we scroll down a little bit further, you're going to see that it inserted this nice graphic embed as well, exactly where we added that data wrapper embed. Okay, so this is looking pretty good so far. So we can keep working and saving drafts as we work. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to select a category for the story. And you want to select just one category for the story. And what the categories do is they add the story to the correct section of the CNS website. So you really want to select either Annapolis, Washington, Data, Video, Howard Center, Maryland, Sports, just one of these top level sections. So what that means for most reporters is you're either going to select Annapolis, Washington, Data if you work in the Data Bureau, Maryland, or Sports. Okay. So for this specific story, because it's about Baltimore, it doesn't really fit in the Annapolis section. We're going to go ahead and tag this as the Maryland category. So we'll just go ahead and select Maryland from our category list down here. And we just need to select one of those, and that's going to go ahead and place it in the right section of the website. So next we're going to go ahead and add tags into the story. And what tags will do is just add some tags to the bottom of the story for relevant subjects. And we really don't want to add too many tags. These days tags don't really help with search too much. They're just a nice user feature. If we tag something Baltimore, which we'll go ahead and add the tag Baltimore to this. And that way if a user clicks on that tag at the bottom of our story, it'll show them every other story on our website that's been tagged Baltimore. So it's just a nice way to sort of get topical stories to show up together if users want to view them that way. So like I said, you really don't want to add too many tags to your story. The advice that we give these days is maximum of 5 tags, and all of them should be highly relevant to your story. Okay, and I'll go ahead and save this draft since we've done a couple things here. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to add a featured image to our story. And it's really important that every story that we add to the CNS website has a big featured image that shows up at the top of the story. And this is also the image that'll show up over here when the story is featured on the front page of our website. So it's really important that every story has a featured image. And your editor can give you some advice about finding featured images. We like to take our own photos. We like to use photos from our archive. And we're also able to use photos that are available under the Creative Commons license. In my data bureau, we often find photos available under Creative Commons on Flickr by going to Flickr and searching for photos specifically that are available under that Creative Commons license. But talk to your editor for more advice about that. For this particular story, I have a nice photo that Ryan took himself to be used as our feature photo. So we just scroll down here to where it says featured image, and we'll click on set featured image. And in this case, we want to upload a file. So I have the photo that Ryan took here on my desktop, and I'm just going to go ahead and drag that over, and the website will ingest that photo and go ahead and create a nice, ingest it into the system and create a nice URL for it so we can place it right directly at the top of our story. We have a couple standards for adding photos. We generally want to have all of these fields filled out to make it easier for people in the future if they want to reuse your photos. So we want to have a nice, easy to understand photo title. So for instance, we might call this, Pew sentencing is a good title. And we want to have a caption, a description, and alt text. And in general, it's fine if all three of those fields are exactly the same. If you just want to write a good caption and use that and just copy and paste that for all three of these fields, it's just important that all three of them are filled out. So for instance, we have a nice caption here. Former Baltimore Mayor Catherine Pugh, Democrat, addresses the media in front of the U.S. District Court in Baltimore, just blah, blah, blah. And then we, of course, want to end that with Capitol News Service photo by Ryan E. Little to give Ryan credit for his nice photo. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste that into all three of these fields. And that's everything we need to do to upload a photo. And so now that I've uploaded my photo and filled out all these fields, I can just click Set Featured Image. And we're going to give that a second to do its thing, and we're going to see the featured image is going to go ahead and show up here. So that's great, and if we go ahead and save this as a draft, and we can preview it again, and we'll see that this will now show up at the top of our story and really make our story look much nicer. There we go. So one thing to point out is that when you add a photo in the middle of the stack on your story, it's automatically going to bring over the caption and the credit. When you add a featured image, it's not going to automatically bring over that caption and the credit. You're going to have to manually add in the caption and the credit. And we do that this way. So we'll scroll down a little bit in our story. Down here, and then we click on Standard Post Layout. That's going to scroll down a little bit, and we're going to have two fields here, one for featured image caption and one for featured image credit. And so I'm going to paste our caption there in that field, and then I'm going to paste the credit here in this field. And if we save draft and we'll preview that again, you'll see that now the caption and the credit for that photo has been brought over. Oops. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, now our caption and our credit is on the story as well. So this is really starting to come together. We're almost finished, right? We added our headline, we added our photo, our lead featured photo with our caption and credit. We added our story text. We added a photo inside the story. We added a graphic embed. We added our categories. We added our tags. Really, the story is just about ready to go to our editors to publish. The very last thing we want to do is we want to insert something called the excerpt. And so that is going to, the field for excerpt appears right down here. And the first time that you come to post a story, you may not see this excerpt field. And if you don't see this excerpt field here, what you'll have to do is come up here to the very top to Screen Options and click down. You'll have to check this excerpt field, and then you'll have to refresh your page a couple times. And then after that, this excerpt field will appear for you. And what we want to do is just add a little brief description of the whole story. And that's how your story will appear on the home page or the section front of the website. So for instance, if your story goes right up here at the top, this is what the excerpt will be, right? It's a nice brief encapsulation of your story that lets people know what your story is about and encourages them to click on it. So here I have a nice brief for Ryan's story. Former Baltimore mayor and Healthy Holly author Catherine Pugh, who wrote for her own downfall by fraudulently selling children's books to organizations with which she was politically connected, was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. So we will just copy and paste that right into the excerpt field. And now we can save our draft one last time. And that's basically everything we need to do. So you won't be able to publish your story yourself. You're going to want to wait for your editors to actually click the publish button. You're going to want to set it up as a draft and preview it and make sure everything looks good. And then when you're done, you just talk to your editor and let them know that the story is ready to be published. So again, just a quick review. You come to the CNS website, create a new post, insert your headline, add your text using the text tab here, add in any bolds or italics or links in your story, add in any photos or embeds, then you choose a category, add in any tags, then you add in your feature image, and after you add in your feature image, you come down and add in the feature image caption and the featured image credit, and then you add in your excerpt. Make sure that you save as a draft and preview, and that is how you add your story to the CNS website. So if you have any questions, please reach out to your editor or send me, Adam Martin, a Slack anytime. Thanks so much and good luck.